Hello, welcome to Supernatural on the Rocks. I am Emily,
And I'm Mandy.
and this is the next episode of the Winchesters Weekly, and we are talking about the mid-season finale of the Winchesters, which for a short season, having a mid-season finale kind of
It's
sucks, but
very a premature feeling.
mhm.
It's like we're used to binging like 13 episode seasons. So a 13 episode season doesn't seem that short to me anymore. But when you cut it in half and stop for like 6 weeks,
Yeah,
it does.
it does seem short. It does, yeah. It did have me thinking about old school television of 24, 22 episode seasons.
Yeah.
And I think it was a Tumblr post going around about it was a kids these days don't know what kind of TV we
Mhm.
used to watch where you had a 22 episode season and 15 of those episodes were filler, but
Yeah.
they weren't filler because you got to
Yeah.
know the characters and you got to know backstory and you got all this time because those are 42-minute chunks
Hmm.
where you're learning about their clothes and the food that they like and how they talk. And we've only had 6 hour because 7 episodes, but
Yeah.
they're 42 minutes. We've only had like 6 hours with these characters, and we're supposed to be really deeply invested in their lives, and there's not enough
No.
time.
I would love a bottle episode for
Yeah.
this show. Like just an entire episode where they have some kind of problem they need to solve, but they can do it from within the same room and like conversations between all the characters and dynamics and them bickering and fighting and snacking or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
And I was thinking in this episode again, and I think we talked about in the lapse last episode, they don't what's the best way to phrase it? Like we just don't know them. And we haven't seen them do anything that's not fighting and reacting to this one problem. The whole arc of the Winchesters has been finding Mary's dad and fighting the Akrida. But there's been nothing else. We haven't seen them react to
Yeah.
a car breaking down or
Yeah.
a different problem where in Supernatural in season one you had just a cascade of things that they were handling, and sometimes the cases were important and sometimes they were garbage and had nothing to do with anything other than it was their job to hunt monsters.
Like sometimes the highlight of the episode were them bickering in a hotel room or
Yeah.
like in the car.
And sometimes those fights were like deep and meaningful, and sometimes those fights were like someone farted in the car
Yeah.
or like whose job it was to go play pool for money.
Mm-hmm.
Which fanon or canon? That's canon,
That's
right?
canon. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, for people who didn't come to this show from our Glee podcast, Fanon or Canon is a game we have to play where we spent so much time in the bowels of Fanon that we have forgotten which aspects of the characterizations of the characters and the show itself were created by the show and which were created by the fans.
Yep. I mean, Carol Hudson's a nurse.
Yes, she is.
Uh,
And I'm positive there are pieces of Supernatural that are
yeah.
pure fanon, but feel like canon. And actually, one of those is how much flannel they wear. It's not as much as you think.
No.
It's really
Yeah.
not.
If you judge by like descriptions in fic or even by fan arts, yeah, you would have an entirely different idea.
Yeah. But for the Winchesters, like we just don't have the time to sit with them and like know them. It's been 6 hours and it's one track. It's all a one track plot. And all of their conversations with each other are like, I don't know if it's me just getting really old, but the dialogue is so rapid fire and so intent on delivering information to get to the next scene that I'm like, what are you talking about? What the ostium, the what is needed to what, and the vines, and hold on. Like,
Yeah.
and we're very show um We are TV. We are TV experts, maybe.
Yeah, we've watched a hell of a lot of TV.
Yeah, we watch a fuck ton of TV and movies.
And
We know how to.
we're the good, observant, analytical, let's
Yes,
discuss or rip this apart after we finish type of viewers.
and I feel like this show just blows by where you're like, wait, what are
Yeah.
you talking about? Did I
Yeah.
what
Did I miss something?
creature? Did I miss something? Like, how did we just get to the next scene? And I just, whoa, slow down.
Yeah, they are trying to pack in a lot,
Hmm.
whereas I would rather them just do less and show more.
Yeah, it just feels, and it's moving so fast that I know it's only been 7 episodes, but I feel like it's both too much and not enough.
Yeah.
So like the plot is too much and the characters are not enough. And their dialogue all feels the same. I don't know if you've had that feeling with them.
Yeah, it's all a bit like I don't know. I was gonna say standard. Standard maybe isn't right. But
It's rote.
I don't get any strong character voices from any of them. There's not a line where I'd be like, I could read it on paper and be like, oh, I can absolutely hear this specific character saying that.
Right. There's no like that's so Carlos. Well, and Carlos will, I think, be the first to develop
Mm-hmm.
dialogue where you're like, ah, yes, but it's because it's a little like, yes, that's the sassy character.
Yeah, like you're pointing him in the direction of the right stereotypes to give people that association.
Hmm. Which, as long as they don't kill him,
Yeah,
is it good
please
or is that bad?
please don't kill him. Please don't
Please,
kill him.
please leave
If the
Carlos alone.
yeah, if the options are he stays in the background but lives, I would rather that, even though that would make me sad too, but not as sad as Carlos dying.
Absolutely. But I feel like if I closed my eyes and just listened to people talk, I'd be hard pressed to figure out who is who.
Yeah.
And let's blame the writers, honestly. And I hate to do that because I want to love them because I know
Mhm.
how hard that job is. Um,
The only one I won't blame the writers on is a little bit the guy playing John, because like he has a John Winchester to go off of.
right.
And I
Yes.
feel like, and obviously we've talked about this like multiple times now, like he's not that John yet, but like some of the speech patterns and stuff,
Hmm.
some of the, some of the things he said, like nothing gives me adult John Winchester
No,
from the,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is a very different
yeah,
actor.
yeah.
Hmm.
I don't dislike the John actor, but it's like that is the one character where I'm like, I should be recognizing something in this guy. And
Right.
I'm
Maybe does he need like a week-long session with Jeffrey Dean Morgan to be like, could you just give him like some
yeah.
scruff and give him a hand?
And it's also okay. This also occurred to me while I was watching this episode, but I was like, we've seen the progression from one age to the next age of other characters. Like we've got Sam Winchester in season one versus Sam Winchester 15 years later,
Right.
and like you can see that obviously it's the same actor, and
Hmm.
John Winchester one isn't, but I'm like it just makes it stand out even more.
It does. Yeah, and I think Mary is a different case because she she dies and then a version of her comes back to life.
Yeah.
So you're like she skips a bunch of time and then she's dead and she's not, and it's the supernatural way. But yeah, John Winchester has a canon to approach. He's not quite there yet. Maybe he'll get there. He's got to get roughed up a bit more.
That's true.
Um, so something we missed is the rundown of the episode.
Oh yes.
And this is episode 7, Reflections. The hunt heats up, and Mary and John find trails that lead back to their fathers. Carlos helps Mary investigate where the Akrida might be hiding, but they discover more than they bargained for. Meanwhile, Millie steps in to help Latika, Ada, and John decipher notes left behind, and they stumble upon a way to get some answers. So, again, they this episode opened, and I was like, "Did I miss the first 5 minutes?"
I did, like I literally went back and watched the end of the last episode because I was like, did I miss something?
Yeah, I was like, "Did I? What happened?"
Yeah.
I don't mind just jumping right in, but usually these episodes have a cold open with
Hmm.
someone else, not the main characters.
Yeah.
But they're investigating the like a warehouse attached to the radio tower. and Mary finds her dad's bag and it's covered in blood, and then there's like a dude trapped in a trunk of the car who's controlled by the Akrida. And I was like, that's just mean. Why did he need to be trapped in the trunk if he's controlled by the Akrida? Why couldn't he just be standing there?
Yeah.
If he's a hive mind, if he's being controlled, just tell him to wait for them. Doesn't need to be tied up. But he knows who Samuel is, and he has a message from the hive mind that their work at this radio tower is done, and he tells them all to just fuck off and go home, because obviously that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
So the hunt for Samuel continues, as does the hunt for Rock and Roxy and the Akrida and all of that. But we did get a return to the monster box, which I appreciated because we kind of left that behind for a few episodes now.
Yeah, and it probably would have been a little useful in those episodes it got left behind in, but
Yeah. Yes. Lada and Carlos are trying to open it again because it don't work. And Ada has returned after dropping her half Jin son off at I don't know, summer camp. She like drive all the way to the West Coast and back, and however long it's been since we saw her last. But
oh yeah.
Yeah, she had kind of an interesting comment. There's like abandoned men of letters offices all over the country, and that like werewolves have been like and other monsters were stationed there to protect them, which was
Yeah.
kind of an odd comment. Like, but don't they kill monsters? So how does this work?
Yeah, I was a little confused by that.
That's part of this like fast talking, deliver a lot of information. She was like, I've got boxes of men with letter lore. There's abandoned offices all over the place. They're using monsters to protect them, but we kill monsters and moving on. I was like, hold on, that is a ton of information. Could we sit on that for a minute? But we don't.
No.
We don't at all. I guess what it does is lay a little bit of the groundwork for the bunker that Sam and Dean eventually find in Supernatural, to be like, it's not the only one. They're everywhere.
That's true.
I guess. The bunker does seem to be a little bit more juiced up than the clubhouse that they've got here, though. But maybe they'll find other secret rooms and stuff like the bunker. So in this this lore that Ada has found, they have a name for the box, which is the Ostium, which is Latin for the opening in a body, which had kind of the sauciest joke we've heard from
Yes.
from Carlos to date.
Which opening?
Which opening? It's like, all right, I'll take that.
Yeah. You go Carlos with the innuendo.
Yeah. So when we talk about the characters not having a voice, Carlos is the one who kind of does like that kind of shit. Like, there we go.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a little something there. But obviously the notes in the box are written in John's dad's handwriting. Because why wouldn't they be?
Yeah. It's gotta be related to one of the dads.
It has to be one of the dads, because who else is there in the show? Some of the notes are written in shorthand, in stenography, for code reasons, because no one has ever broken the code of stenography.
No. I think it's just like another language at first.
I know, they're like, what mystical language is this? Like, it's
none of these kids have ever had an office job.
No, that's true though. It I suppose it would be like you or I leaving notes in cursive for a Gen Z to find. Like, I can't read it.
Oh God, that's true.
It's code. Like, I guess.
Google translate this, please.
Google Lens, help me. So John has to get his mom, Millie, to the clubhouse to help read the stenography. I guess because she, at one point, she knows how to read John's handwriting. And it does give her something to do, which I appreciate, rather than leaving her off to the side, useless. So that's nice. So we also have Mary finding motel keys in her dad's bag, which she just runs off to go hunt down, because that's what she does. She doesn't stop to think about like plan or how this might affect the group. She's just like, keys, motel, gone. Yes. So Carlos goes with her. and tells her like a story about his parents getting killed by ghouls after a witch hunt that he feels pretty guilty about. And it's like a theme running through of feeling guilty about circumstances that you can't change.
Because really, like, what could he have done?
Right. I wondered though if this was like planting any sort of seeds for later on with
Oh, that could be.
anything. Because I mean, John Winchester wasn't here to hear this, but
Uh,
in the future, what could,
hmm.
with the yellow-eyed demon, and I don't know. I just wondered if this story would have more significance in the future.
It definitely seems a little bit foreshadowy
Hmm.
now that yeah.
Because I mean, we do have in later in the episode when John does see his father, who is dead, and I definitely forgot that until he showed up at a ghost, and I was like, oh right, because he's dead.
Yeah. I
Because I've been so focused on finding Mary's father that I forgot John's was dead.
The whole time he was talking about the music box thing, I don't know. I think I also have done that thing where I keep confusing the storylines between the two fathers.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, oh man, his dad's gonna tell a story about the music box when he finds him or something.
I know. Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, and they were both just talking about our father's this and our father's that. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, they're both looking for their dads. Like, they're not.
Yeah. No.
Only one of them is. But, well, I mean, we'll get to the storyline, but John also blames himself for Henry leaving. And Carlos has this story about his parents going off and getting killed by ghouls on a hunt. He felt like so there is a connection between the two of them, but I feel like a story like that could carry more significance later on and not feeling guilty for things that aren't your fault.
Yeah.
Like maybe your wife getting burned alive on a ceiling. I don't know. Maybe.
Just
Or
imagining Carl like so hypothetically. Now this is very specific hypothetical, but John, hypothetically in the future.
like just maybe if this happens,
Yeah.
how should I feel about it? Um so Mary and Carlos are off to go hunt down, sure, her dad. They get pulled over by cops, but it's not cops, it's Roxy, who wants to do a little tradesy, Mary's dad for the Ostium. Doesn't seem like a fair trade.
Not really. No.
She does say that the box can't kill her and that nothing of the earth can, which seemed like a pretty bold statement.
It just sounds like a challenge.
It does sound like a challenge. Like, I don't know, I've seen Buffy. A lot of people say that and then they still get killed.
Can I get that in writing? Do you want to put
Right?
money?
Yeah. Get a little scroll out, do a little scratch, see how this actually goes. Um, Mary obviously takes the deal because she's an idiot and will barter her dad for the safety and lives of everybody else, because that's how stories like this go. So in the meantime, while this is happening, I like this little aside with Millie and Ada talking about like how do you put up with these kids.
Yeah.
I just thought, I let them pretend to be in charge and I drink.
Now that I've accepted the idea that Ada is not their age.
Right. Yeah, that I still look at her and I'm like, you're 20, right? No, she has a grown-ass child. We also find out here that the Ostium does not kill monsters, but transports them, which, okay, but like where? Which is
Yeah,
something
that's
they need to figure out. And
like
they
a
also,
problem to happen. They're gonna open a closet one day and it's gonna be like, oh,
right.
full of
Yeah,
monsters. Yeah.
it's full of monsters. They just transported them across the hall. And they also decide or figure out that the Akrida is like an invading force that operates as one, like a hive, and that if they kill the queen that they've decided exists, they will take out the whole hive. Fine. So they want to. Millie has found notes about like a seance session, and they want to talk to John's dad and get some like info from Henry about the Akrida. So they hold a little seance and have some like family therapy session with Henry, which is when I guess both you and I were like, oh, right, Henry's dead.
Yeah. Yes.
Surprise. So Ghost Henry does show up after John is honest with his feelings for the seance to work, which I didn't realize was a rule of seances.
Feel like it's not, but I'll give them that.
Yeah, that seemed new to me.
Uh,
But he does tell John that it wasn't his fault because all good boys need to hear that from their fathers.
of course.
The
John was
Akrida, yeah, well, Dean never got to hear it. So that cycle keeps going. So apparently the Ostium isn't broken, but it just needs to be recharged, which was not in the notes anywhere and maybe was something he could have written down at some point. So there is like a rock hidden in the jasmine vine at the house, and that's how they're just going to recharge it. I did love the visual of them just like slamming a rock on top of the box, and it just went like, "Burp."
yeah.
It was like an instant apple charge. Like, no, we're good. All gravy. But the situation here does seem to be that this like box and the Akrida and all of this shit are from another dimension. Is that annoying to you?
A little bit, yeah. Feels like a cop out.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, that's the easy answer.
Hmm.
Also seems to line up very well with easy solutions. Send them back to their dimension.
Right. Yeah, we don't have to kill them. We can just send them away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it does open up a whole world of the problems aren't earthly problems. The problems are like other Earth problems. The problems are interdimensional problems, which feels like a season 16 supernatural problem and not a season one Winchesters problem.
Yes.
Like, we're not fighting vampires and werewolves. We're fighting interdimensional aliens in our first go.
And if they were already fighting this stuff, then John really did Sam and Dean a disservice by not jotting that down in his journal.
Yeah, right. I don't remember the shit being in the journal. It was
No.
like how to stake a vampire, how to find a werewolf. Nothing about interdimensional beings getting sucked into a box.
Like he's getting the PhD now, but he left them his like sixth grade notes.
Yeah, he didn't blue book them. He just wrote
No.
down the composition notebook. This was
Yeah.
rude.
It's very rude. Beginning to
Not
think he didn't care much for his kids.
he did. He really. I'm going to protect you by not telling you anything. What?
Or literally protecting you. Not going to do that either, but I'm protecting you by not doing that.
By not helping you at all. So, everyone goes to this warehouse to try to fight it out with the Akrida. Mary has attempted to use the box on Rock and Roxy because she thinks that, well, I guess everyone thinks that Roxy is like
Yeah.
the queen, the Akrida, the big monster. I think we've all kind of thought that Roxy is like big monster of the show.
Yeah, they definitely they went in for that mislead.
Yes.
Um
Fair point, right? Like fair assumption.
I think they also they they cast someone who has like a history as like series leads,
Yes, absolutely.
which definitely adds to the mislead, and I kind of appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. It
Yeah.
gives like a nice like, ooh, here's someone I should pay attention to.
Yeah.
But when Mary didn't kind of look like she was typing on a tablet, she like typed some stuff into the top of the
Yeah.
box. It was like
Yeah.
a Star Trek, like do 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 do.
Uh-huh.
I guess activated the ruins on top of the Ostium, opened the box, but only one of the spider creatures got sucked in,
Yeah.
which did seem to cause Roxy to collapse. But then nothing else happened and the box closed. And then, I don't know, dozens, I think, of spider creatures showed up.
Yeah. A lot.
Lots.
Lots
So,
of little CGI critters.
yes, little critter showed up.
Yeah.
So John and Mary rightfully took a running, locked themselves into a room, and in the glorious tradition of fuck or die, chose to kiss in this moment of tension and now or never. What did we think? Did it feel at the right moment? Did we feel the tension? Did we feel the UST?
No.
Yeah.
I also it was easy to see the kiss coming. Like I was like, oh, these two people are locked alone in a room together.
Right.
I accept that this is happening, whether I feel like it's the right moment or not. But
Mhm.
no, I feel like they definitely could have. I don't know. They could have put some more time and effort into building that tension. Maybe even a few close calls would have been nice.
Right.
Like some, oh, we're in a situation where maybe we're gonna kiss and then not to lead up to it.
Hmm.
No, they just kind of jumped right in there.
And again, I think this goes back to our earlier problem of it's only been 7 hours,
Yeah,
right? Like, okay, maybe they've known each other for a couple weeks, a couple months, but we've only seen them for 7 hours.
yeah,
And
and
they've
for
been,
the epic route the relationship is gonna take, it didn't feel like an epic first kiss.
no, it didn't. It was very, no, it didn't. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, we're locked in a room. And we have seen some, or at least I have seen some comparisons on the internet, on Tumblr especially, between John and Mary and Dean and Cass. I
Hmm.
think there are parallels that you can find, and obviously we are Dean Cass truthers on this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
If you have a problem with that, you
Yeah.
can see
Yeah.
yourself out now. Thank you for listening. We're not for you.
You can write a letter to the management.
You can write a letter to management. That management is at Jensen Ackles
Yes.
or
Yeah.
at Misha Collins. Pick your poison. So there are actually some interesting parallels being found between scenes between John and Mary and Dean and Cass of now like getting locked in a room and they think they're going to die and there's a confession with the scene and then before Cass gets pulled into the empty. The difference being 12 years of unrequited tension and love and relationship and death and war and all of this and 7 episodes of like a little bit of flirting and some monsters.
Hmm.
It's it's not the same.
Yeah. It's not.
And it could be they could have a great
Yeah.
love story if given the time and the attention paid to it. They just haven't had that chance, and
I mean,
that's not their fault.
they literally haven't even had time to have had that chance.
Right. So
Like,
would love to see it. I'm here. I want to watch it.
and that comparison makes me think, like, yeah, there are shows where I've been extremely invested 7 episodes in,
Hmm.
but you can't do that with the kind of like ensemble, vaguely light-hearted type of thing. I think of
Sure.
something like Midnight Mass, or for some reason I keep mentioning that show in this podcast.
Because it's
Um,
amazing.
it's amazing. Or like Wednesday, I'm in the middle of watching that. I'm like,
I
yeah, I can
just watched the
sleep.
first episode of Wednesday and I would kill for her.
Yes, like you can care deeply about characters and relationships within that number of episodes, but that's not this story. That's not CW storytelling.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like CW, you got to give them a few seasons, but also they are speed running this show with 13 episodes.
They really are.
And I don't know, it makes me wish that it were more one or the other.
Hmm.
Like either they could have flipped the format up and gone for like a Netflix style of storytelling, or they could just accept that that is not what CW does and don't try to rush it as much.
Right. Yeah. I do wish that they had this might have been a very interesting show to test out on one of the streaming services.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that could have been pretty cool.
Yeah. Darker, more time
Yeah.
without the
Especially,
restrictions of the CW.
especially with the setup that, you know, besides John, they're basically all going to die.
I know that post you sent me today. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, they are
It,
gonna die.
and the post, and we can put it in the notes, but it was basically like a quote from one of the episodes about all of his mom's friends died.
Right. So canonically, if we're
Yeah.
following the rules of Supernatural, all of Mary
Yeah.
Campbell's friends die, and these are her friends.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't hate it if she went out and made a whole new group of friends real quickly so that
Sure.
we don't Carlos or Lotta or Ada.
Hmm.
And hopefully that's, you know, the best case scenario would be we don't see that. That happens sometime later.
Right.
But I don't know. That would have been a great darker story to tell. And it could have been really poignant.
Hmm. And yeah, I mean, maybe if we're given more time.
I hope so, because this show is still not renewed for season 2, is it?
No, not yet. And I don't know that I have the energy to petition networks anymore.
I mean, not for this show. That feels bad to say. It's not special enough to quite call for it yet.
Right. I mean, you guys can. You guys should absolutely petition the CW who have no money.
We're just old and tired
We're
and also have no money.
we've done the work before.
Yeah.
We kept Supernatural on. It's your turn now.
So long. So many years.
We passed the baton. It's your turn to keep shows on the air.
I mean, we got Firefly a movie. We got like Chuck, 2 different series. We got Community. We got Community, 6 seasons and a freaking movie.
And a movie. We've done our part.
Like first year? 6 seasons and a fucking movie. Yes.
Yeah. We did it. It's your guys' turn.
Yeah.
You're young and healthy.
Yes.
We're tired and our tummies hurt.
But yeah, so these pretty young people kissed and it was a little bland.
Well, they're a little bland, and I hate to say that about the actors, but like they're a little bland.
They are.
We get in trouble for our style of podcasting as being negative, but I feel like it's a disservice not to be truthful about what we think of things.
Also, like, while I will acknowledge we are negative in like what we're talking about sometimes, if we really had watched the show and was like, this sucks, we wouldn't be doing the podcast.
Right. Yes.
Like,
there's a lot of shows that I'm like, this sucks, and then I turn it off.
Yeah. The fact that we are interested enough in it to sit and talk about it for an hour a week means that we liked it. So you can just like, there's an implication of, hey, this doesn't suck.
Right.
We have complaints. We want things to be done differently. We have hopes for the future.
Right.
But there's something there we like.
This is just how we approach things, and it has always been how we approach things. This is where the fanfic comes from.
Yes, exactly.
Now they're a straight couple, so the fanfic's not coming from us, but like,
yeah,
look elsewhere.
Could get into some Carlos John or some Mary Lotta though.
You don't have time.
I don't have time.
We have a whole other podcast to do.
Yes. Okay. No time.
We owe a season 6.
Yeah. It's coming in December. It will be recorded. I'm not going to promise we have it out in December, but it will be recorded.
Oh, well, I mean, to finish the episode, actually, something else happens. They're making out. The door opens. Samuel arrives with the Ostium to save the day.
Plot twist.
Plot twist. Did you see that coming?
No, but it also didn't surprise me. I mean,
okay.
As soon as the door opened, I was like, either John's dad is back from the dead or this is Mary's dad.
Somebody's dad.
Yeah, somebody's dad.
Somebody's father is here. Yeah, I guess I was a little like, oh, there he is.
Yeah. It didn't surprise me. Like, I wouldn't have said, oh, the next thing that's going to happen, because I also didn't realize it was the end of the episode.
Right.
For some reason in my brain, it was just like, all right, this probably got like 15 more minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe just because everything moved so quickly.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would have also liked Mary to have found her father.
Yeah. That would have been satisfying for her.
Yes. But he is alive. He is a little wounded. Let's hope he's not infected with something, because that would be sad.
Yeah. It does the whole like stagger in, covered in blood, not covered in blood, but bleeding
from a wound of some sort, probably given to him by the spiders.
Yep.
But he does know how to use the Ostium in a way that kills more than one spider at a time. So good for him.
Also, Ostium just sounds like it should be a word you hear in a medical commercial. Like,
Ostium? Do you suffer from Ostium?
Exactly. Call this toll-free number.
If you are experiencing pain in your Ostium, please call. If you or a loved one have been, it does. Well, it is Latin.
Yeah. Like, and the description of what it was made sense. I was like, okay, there probably is some core words there, but still.
Yeah, the Ostium.
All right. So we have Daddy, not Winchester, Campbell.
Keep your own name. You don't have to take the Winchester name. It's
Yes.
poison. I guess
And
the final thing here is that there seem to be a group of mind taken over people. That's not the word I was thinking of, but there's a word for that. The zombified people.
possessed, hypnotized.
Possessed. Thank
Yeah.
you. Who have been digging away in some sort of underground space. And they have uncovered the scene though where that one woman was digging with her hands and her nail popped off. I
Oh,
was like, oh, there we go. That's some good shit.
yeah, no, I mean that was it was good and also made me shudder.
Yeah, I was like, that's what I want to see more.
It was, yeah, it's definitely the supernatural creepiness they could get away
Yeah.
with.
I was like, oh yeah, that's good. That's good. Unexpected, in your
Yeah,
face. So good.
effective, very effective.
Effective. Yeah. And it didn't linger, right? Like it
Yeah.
wasn't yeah, I was like, ooh, yeah, there it is. They are digging away, uncovering some sort of like underground space atrium almost. They have uncovered like a metal door.
Mm-hmm.
Um and a woman approaches with like the monster essence that they have been gathering from all the dead unicorn monsters, which I thought was a funny name, like the unicorn monsters. And they approach an unseen figure and call her my
Yep.
queen.
Yep. Very of course we don't get to see who the queen is. That's the
No.
cliffhanger. But she opens the box and we get the nice like red glow effects.
Mm-hmm.
Very cheesy, very fitting.
Super cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Roxy was not the big bad. We have a new big bad. Queen Akrida, I
Yeah.
guess. Queen Krita, who we will meet, I'm assuming, after the mid-season break.
Yep. And how long is the mid-season break?
6 weeks, I
So
think.
yeah, that's what I thought. That's
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Yeah, I
for
think we're
a
back January 24th.
yeah, for a season one mid-season finale, it's not that bad, but
Right.
it's also not good either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, just little lackluster.
That's
I
a
think that
little,
the kiss adds to that though, just to the oh, this should have been a big moment and isn't quite.
yes, yes. Not quite there, not quite. No one was rescuing anybody. No one was, they just like stepped into a room and then we're like, I guess we're here and should kiss. And
You're like,
so
oh,
they did.
we're alone and have hormones.
I know.
Let's do it.
And it's like no one was bleeding. No one was
No,
like panting. Like,
there was no serious risk of danger. I mean, there was like
yeah.
danger, but like
Hmm.
they've been in fake situations.
They have been in worse situations. I mean, it felt like they had been worse situations.
Yeah,
I'm sure to them it felt like
yeah.
terrible. Hmm. So maybe we're just so spoiled by excellent fic writers and the situations they put their characters in that we were like, meh.
Yeah, that's very true. I do read a whole lot of fan fiction.
Like you guys could be bloodier for this.
Yeah, nobody's dying. Like,
I'm just
where's
not
my comfort?
I'm not feeling the hurt comfort in this, you guys. So yeah, that's the mid-season finale of the Winchesters. And I hope they get picked up. Honestly, I would like to see where this goes.
Yes. And this entire episode was worth it for Carlos's one filthy joke.
This one butthole
It
joke.
absolutely. Like,
Amazing.
if I were rating this on a star scale, it would be a solid 3.5 on that basis alone.
What, out of 5 or out of 10?
Out of 5.
Okay. It's like, hold
Yeah.
on. What's our ranking?
Yeah, no. Out of 5.
Yeah. Just for that joke. I agree.
Yeah.
That got me. I was like, damn it, he
Yeah.
said that out loud. Incredible.
And I like that they got away with it.
I
Like,
know.
CW is not known for being like super risque, especially
No.
like gay jokes or, non-straight jokes.
Yeah, I mean they have some queer characters, but
Yeah.
they're not having sex. Like
No.
they're sanitized.
Well, fuck knows Castiel wasn't.
No, he did just that one time with a woman.
True. That
That's
doesn't
when they're
count.
allowed.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that scene.
No.
It didn't happen. Yeah. Do we feel confident about the Winchesters? Do we feel nervous about the Winchesters? Do we feel like we've said the Winchesters too many times in this episode?
It quite a few times. I am gonna bank my confidence on Jensen's relationship with the CW.
Fair point. He has made them a lot of money.
He has made them so much money, and we know there are more like supernatural tie-in stars coming.
Yes, this episode was directed by Richard Speight himself.
Yeah. So I feel like it could get a nice ratings boost when they bring in some familiar supernatural faces.
Very true.
And I'm hoping that helps.
Hmm.
But I haven't been following the ratings. I kind of forget rating systems exist because I'm so used to streaming networks.
I think ratings are very difficult these days, given
Yeah.
how few people watch things live.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
You can watch these episodes for free on the CW website, by the way. Anyone who wants to
If
follow
you're not,
along.
if you're listening
Yeah.
to this podcast but not watching the series, you can
Yeah.
watch the series. Yeah. Um, I mean, I have taken to watching it on the CW, but
Mhm.
I'm not a Nielsen person. Like, I don't know if they're
Yeah.
catching that I'm watching it. Right? Like, I don't know.
I have no idea how that works.
Like, do I count? Do I matter to these people? I don't know. Who knows? But even then I have like I have a DVR, so I let it I let it
Let it
play a
record.
little bit
Yeah.
and then go back so I don't have to watch quite as many commercials
Nice. Yeah.
because I hate that. That's why people don't watch as much live TV is because the commercials fucking suck.
Absolutely.
So, sorry advertisers, but it's you who are
Yeah.
the problem.
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't want to say cautiously optimistic because I lost my optimism in 2016, but I'm
Cau-
curious.
Cautiously less pessimistic than normal.
Sure. Let's go let's go with that. Cautiously hoping for good news.
Yeah.
Because I would like to see it succeed, if only for to keep Jensen busy.
Yes.
I just worry that if this doesn't, he will start cosplaying as Dean.
It's just gonna show up at Misha's doorstep.
Basically,
Hey, let's play.
yeah, can we I'm here. Like, no,
Yeah.
your name is Jensen. It's not Dean. And I just think sometimes he doesn't know that.
Yeah. It's okay. We love him anyway. Or because of it.
Or because
Yeah.
of. Yeah. So, yes, this is our I guess mid-season break, although we will be active doing other
Cool.
things. We will try and have season 6 of Supernatural on the rocks, which is technically episode 6. And if you haven't listened to any of those episodes, there is probably more hours of podcast content of Supernatural on the Rocks than there is episodes of The Winchesters.
Yeah. I think that's an easy yes to
Yeah.
say.
If you haven't listened to that yet, we cover one season of Supernatural in an episode of the podcast, but it tends to be very long, so we break it into 2
Yeah.
to give you a chance to take a bathroom break. Because who listens to podcasts on the bathroom? No one would ever do that.
I listen to podcasts in the bath.
I know. I have yet to put a speaker in the shower, but I am thinking about it.
It's very tempting.
So I never have to be alone
Yeah.
with my thoughts.
Yes. I mean, that's the enemy. You can't have silence in your head.
No. But then I
No,
think I might dissociate in the shower if I did that. And I can't
that
I
might
can't
be dangerous.
they would be bad. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden I'd listen to a whole episode of something in the shower. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Uh
Where you shouldn't come into work today. Oh, still.
still in the shower listening to This American Life. So yeah, so if you want to check out those episodes, if you haven't already, please do. If you're at all into Glee, you can find us at Glee on the Rocks. We do have a subscription set up on Anchor at Glee on the Rocks if you want to listen to our um, bonus episodes. You can find all of the bonus episodes at patreon.com/Glee on the Rocks. And we're going to start putting those bonus episodes onto Anchor if you want to get a subscription through Anchor. It's not as complicated as it sounds, I promise. We're trying to make it easier for people.
Yes.
Right? We're just old enough that sometimes technology, we're like, this is easier, right? Right? We promise.
Yeah. I mean, it is literally harder for us to explain something than it is to just do it.
You can get it here, or you can get it here, or you can do none of those things at all and just enjoy this episode that you've already listened to and have probably stopped listening to already.
Yep.
But yes, thank you. We will follow up with the next episode of the Winchesters in January, but hopefully, we'll catch you before then.
Yep.
So thank you for listening, and we'll see you around.
Have a good generic December.
Bye. You've been listening to Supernatural on the Rocks, a podcast by OTR Productions. A huge thank you to our sound editor, Adriana, and our podcasts, who secretly run the show. For more episodes, download us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and more at SPN on the Rocks. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can subscribe to our Patreon account at patreon.com/gleeontherocks. Subscribers get ad-free episodes, exclusive mini-episodes deep diving into the fandom, salty opinions, and more. So until next time, this has been The Road That Was.